Welcome to the Moon Magic Tarot channel. Thank you so much for joining me for these very spontaneous readings. This is a set of readings where we are asking our spirit guides, what am I going to need to know about for the Mercury retrograde period? Mercury goes into retrograde today, and we're going to draw, there is the card for pile number one, reading number one. We'll turn these over. We're going to draw these cards together and some runes, a rune and a charm for every reading, so that you can be drawn into whichever reading is right for you. Your Mercury in retrograde is associated, and there we have reading 2 and reading 3. Mercury in retrograde is associated usually with things that go wrong. We get hiccups or delays. And the key, I think, to really navigating a Mercury retrograde period is to understand that it's to slow us down, not to be in a rush to get from A to B, and that there will be signs that are shown to us. Now, this is coinciding with the moon phase, the tribal moon phase of Listening Woman. So in a moment, for those of you that are interested, I will we'll turn over these cards. I'm going to draw a rune and a charm to help guide you in. If you would like to know a little bit more, I'll just read you a tiny bit from the Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon journal about the tribal moon phase of Listening Woman, because she teaches us not to just listen to the obvious. It's like during her moon phase, stuff shows up in our lives, or that's been my experience anyway, that we need to learn to listen to. Listening to what is not being said as well as what is being said. Mercury retrograde kind of really adds to that energy, really. So reading number one, you have the energy of grouse. Okay, so that is the card to draw you in. Reading number 2, we have the energy of whale medicine. And reading number 3, we have mouse medicine. Okay, now let's draw a rune for each. And 3 have come straight out, just like that. Okay, so reading 1, we have the blank rune. Okay. Reading 2, you have the rune of strength. And reading 3, you have the rune of fertility. Okay. Let's place those just there, I think. Okay, let's look at a charm for each one too. Okay, 2 have come out. So the first, this is a cherub, like a little angel. Let me see if I can show that to you more closely. You see the little cherub. This is an angel, like a little cherub of love, like a seraphim of love, firing the arrow of love. It's really interesting. It's firing in the same direction that the grouse is looking in. And we have the blank rune. Wow, look at the whale energy. Gosh, whale energy with strength. And we have the Eye of Horus. Wow, this is the third eye, your ability to see. So this is really interesting. What do our spirit guides, your spirit team, want you to know about, what is going to be shown to you, what is happening, what is important for you to know about during this Mercury retrograde period. If there are delays in your world, hiccups, what is it that the Mercury retrograde energy is bringing for you? And mouse, we have little symbol, best friends. There's a real strong energy coming through actually right here and right now to do with animals. Actually, best friends are animals, our pets, our furry friends, our fur babies. So something that's just coming through here right now for reading number 3. So I will put the timestamps in the information box and the comments as well, so phone users can access them easily. And we will draw lots of cards, oracle cards, tarot cards, possibly runes. I'll just see what it feels like. We'll be very organic in our readings. But just to guide yourself in, sit and listen to whichever one of these readings, or sometimes it's more than one, is speaking to you. This is about the Mercury retrograde energy. What do your spirit guides want you to know about the forthcoming Mercury retrograde period? Begins today as I'm doing these readings. And guys, I'm going to read in a moment about Listening Woman from the Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon journal. But of course, if you want to just fast forward to whichever reading or readings is speaking to you, you can do so using the timestamps. So let me have a little read here for you. So this is the 5th moon phase of 2022. This is the moon phase of Listening Woman. So during this lunar month, the values and learning that underpin our personal growth and influence our creative manifestations come from the teachings of Listening Woman, supported by the energy of willow, which is the willow tree. Willow connects us with our deepest emotions. The energy of willow is interesting. It's about emotional resilience and durability, which sometimes we need during a Mercury retrograde time. So we are diving deep and listening. Tuning in with the energy of Beltane in the Northern Hemisphere and Samhain in the Southern Hemisphere, both are festivals of fire. There's definitely a flavour of passion and emotional intensity in the ethers. So this is the kind of energy of this moon cycle. The moon time of Listening Woman focuses attention on the details of your thoughts and your words. And it gets you to really think about how big a part they play in the constant flow of manifestations. You know, listening to yourself is a really primary key role in manifesting, you know, listening to the language within your mind, which is often going on all the time on autopilot. So very, very important in our manifestations. The story of Listening Woman actually made me step back from the drama that our ego mind can so easily create or buy into, and to listen to what's being said, but also when necessary to listen to what isn't being said. You know, the learning from this moon phase really revolutionized my own ability to develop healthy discernment, and through well-informed listening with recognition and ownership of my own personal choices and responses, I started to manage and maintain my boundaries with strength and confidence. It's interesting, we have strength here. So, and the Eye of Horus. So I really would say during the moon phase of Listening Woman, you may well find that stuff shows up in your world where you are called to be discerning, to make clear decisions, and really to finally attune your listening skills. Whether it's listening to yourself and being discerning with what you are choosing to think about and choosing to say, but also within your other relationships and what, you know, the circumstances in your world as well. So guys, I hope that is helpful and adds maybe some insight into what may be showing up for you during the Mercury retrograde period. So wonderful, friends. I will see you in the readings. Welcome to reading number 1. You have been drawn by the card of Grouse, the little seraphim, the cherub of love, and the blank rune. This is really interesting because the Grouse energy is actually about the spiral of life. It's about the dance of creation. It's actually an invitation to join the dance of life in some way. It's very powerful medicine, I think, in terms of creation and in terms of manifestation. So I'm wondering where you are being asked to fire your arrows. What are you being asked to gestate? What are you actually bringing into the world? Because the blank rune is the rune of kind of infinite possibilities. It's like the source of infinite possibilities that lie in the unknowable future. So I feel like you are in a space of profound possibility, and you know, something is going to be shown to you in the Mercury retrograde period that maybe is going to either support you in directing your arrows, firing your arrows, maybe support you in love, but giving you some element of empowerment to create something that you desire. You may already be gestating it. You may already have something, for some of you, in motion. It's kind of like the bun in the oven. It's already there. It needs to be brought forth. And I think maybe some doorways might open for you. Okay, so we have Mars in Pisces. Let's put these just here, I think. Okay. Mars is very dynamic, very go-getting, very fiery. Let's make it happen. Pisces, spiritual, dreamy Pisces. gosh, reading number one, I'm feeling, gosh, excited for you, because this feels like some openings, something's going to be shown to you that will allow you to become like the master creator of your dreams, to actually know when to fire the arrow or when to take action. I think there'll be an action that's needed from you, and something may jog that into place, because that's what Mercury in retrograde does, jogs us into place. Okay, so we have Aletheia is your archetype card, and I think we will also draw several oracle cards first, and then we will dive into the tarot. Ground your light, let your soul shine. Oh, this is a time of openings for you, reading number one. I think even if, gosh, it's a really interesting push-pull of energy, because the Mercury retrograde asks us to slow down. And yet everything in this reading is saying, gosh, it's time to rebirth. It's time to fire your arrow. It's time to make it happen. Wow. But ground your light, let your soul shine. It's almost as if by grounding yourself and getting still and slowing down, almost as if the universe will be able to orchestrate for you, rather than you trying to make it happen. Feels really quite a powerful energy of manifestation, very specifically. Now, the card of Aletheia is a card that invites us to hear and speak the truth, particularly tuning in with listening woman, to hear the truth, to know something, to know what the truth really means. This is really interesting, this reading number one. Ooh, that's just, wow, this is a lot of cards. I was not intending to use this many cards from this particular oracle pack, but reading number one, they've shown up, so we're going to. So we have strength. We have dry desert. We have education. We have spark, sitting under strength, bone collector, and details. Oh, look at this. Reading number one. This Mercury retrograde period is a massive opening for you. It may well be something that you have already been working on. You've been fostering something like an idea, or you've started to invest in something, and you're being spiritually guided here. During the Mercury retrograde period, you are going to be shown a window of opportunity. Something will happen, some form of communication will come to you. It may be through spiritual guidance, but it may also be just in some random synchronistic conversation where somebody just says something and the penny drops, something means something, and you understand the truth of something. So whatever your circumstances, I feel the Mercury retrograde is bringing a very pivotal turning point for you that is going to create a space where you know where to fire your arrow, where to plant that seed, where to create that spark. You'll have the strength as well. I feel like there's it's like that saying, the truth will out. It's like someone will say something and something will fall into place for you. And it will be unexpected. It will not be something that you were expecting to happen, but it will create a window of opening, and you will intuitively know the truth of the matter, and you will intuitively know exactly what you need to do next to bring something forth. You have been building and gathering something. You've been gestating this blank rune. You've been contemplating something. For some of you, you've been dreaming about something, some aspect of desire. And you've wondered, I think you've questioned whether what you are thinking about is the right way to go. And you may even, for some of you, have been working at something and sort of reached that point of not exhaustion as such, but you've wondered whether what you're doing, whether are you on track or are you not on track. That's the kind of feel here. You know, gosh, see the Mercury retrograde energy. Look at this dry desert. She's looking back. Bone collector, history, ancestors, timing. This is just so interesting, reading 1. You're going to be looking back at something as well. It may actually be some piece of historical information that's shown to you that opens that pathway. Something becomes very clear, but it ignites that spark in you. It gives you the strength to move on. You are going to need to then take action. Mars. Fire that arrow. There's going to be a bit of learning, a bit of extra information to come to you so that you can cross the T's, dot the I's. So whatever is emerging for you. I do feel for me this seems to be more like some work or some creative project rather than a relationship reading. But we have the little seraphim. You see, in a way I feel this is like firing an arrow into the world and knowing it's going to land on its target. Knowing that you're given that piece of information that allows you to then take that project into the world, share of yourself, let your soul shine. You're going to be seen in some way. You're going to be finding that spark, that passion, that love of life again. In some way, you're going to be channeling this into the world and creating it. Making it. I mean, it's just, this is a reading full of creativity. And even if you have been, I see this more as a looking back. It's not so much, I think, that you're looking back and reflecting on something that's been a problem for you. I see this dry desert more as in that you've actually historically been building on your knowledge, your expertise, your awareness, your skills, to the point where you're now ready to bring something forth. It's like you now have the internal resources, the knowledge, the awareness, and it's like something comes along that gives you the insight or the moment or the penny drops, the piece, the missing link that allows you to take this forth into the world. There is still work to be done, and there may be that you're going to be doing a bit more research, you're going to be doing, you know, adding to the detail, fleshing something out. But it is as if this is a reading to invite you to join the dance of life and to become the manifester of something that you really, really wish to bring forth. Shine your light, let your soul shine, but ground it. So this is about manifestation, seeing the truth, finding an act of truth, taking action, making it happen. Let's draw from some tarot cards as well. Okay, we have the Two of Wands. So we can see here, yes, that this is bringing things forth. The spark of creativity, the movement forwards. Okay, we are transforming something here. We have the Seven of Wands as well. It's transformation coming into being. It's like something crystallizes for you during the Mercury retrograde period. Something crystallizes in your mind. Your direction becomes clear. There is still work to come, but we have the Stork here. You know, this is manifestation. This is the birthing of something. So the learning that you embark on, the extra learning, is about adding the detail to the project. It's yeah, I say fleshing it out. It's the finishing touches. It's knowing the with clarity where you're going. So the caterpillar has all for you guys. It's The egg has already become a caterpillar, and the caterpillar has already become a chrysalis. This rune is like the chrysalis. It's waiting to hatch. It's waiting to emerge. This is a rune of emergence. It's waiting to emerge. It's waiting to happen. And the Mercury retrograde period is going to create a space in which there is that possibility for you to genuinely bring something forth. It will become clear. Daughter of Swords. Again, it will become clear. Clarity of mind. The owl, the energy of owl. You will see clearly. I love the imagery of this card here for us, and I want to put it next to the spark. Because if you have a look, just as this beautiful woman she is playing the violin and she is creating energy. She's creating and manifesting energy. The Daughter of Swords, clarity of mind, the seer of things, able to see what we need to see. These little rainbow sparks are here. This is a reading. It's quite extraordinary that we associate always Mercury in retrograde with slowing things down, and that's true. Things often go astray. I mean, you guys back everything up on your computers. But isn't it interesting, this card is wanting to come out, isn't it interesting that in your reading, it's like, instead of trying to make something happen, it's like the slowing down allows the universe to orchestrate around you, to give you the piece of information you needed to pull it together. So even if you are feeling like you're having to work quite hard to bring something forth, that spark is going to come. It will become clear. Wow, look at that. We have Daughter of Swords and Son of Swords. So this is an energy of bringing something forth. It's not a completion. It's a bringing something forth. So whatever you've been working on, it brings it forth. It starts to move. It's like, it's the moment when the caterpillar, the chrysalis breaks open and the butterfly emerges. The butterfly still needs to now go off and live its life and complete its cycle and, go forth and, fertilize the flowers and do the part it came to play in its life. So that's going to happen. But this is the point of emergence for you, knowing where to shoot your arrow. Reading number 1, this is powerful, magical, magnetic. There's like a moment of truth, a moment of clarity. Knowing exactly what you need to do, this spark, this opening, this window of possibility from which you can then create. You can bring forth, you can enter that phase of doing. But there's something you've needed to see, or a missing piece, or something has needed to fall into place first. And I think it will come because it's the Mercury retrograde energy. It will come potentially in an unexpected way, or it could be an unexpected conversation. Listening woman, listen beneath the surface, listen to what people say. If you end up, when you can have a random conversation in a queue in a supermarket or something, and somebody says something, and then afterwards it's just like that was just what you needed to hear. It gave you the piece of information. It was the missing link. So really pay very much attention to everything around you in that particular way, because that's the Mercury retrograde energy. We're asked to become very present, to sometimes and to be in a reflective space rather than a pushing forward space. And yet for you guys, within that reflective space, it's like the doorways then open. Reading number 1, I'm going to leave this exactly as it is, this reading. It feels absolutely magical for you, and gosh, I wish you the most amazing Mercury retrograde period, and wonderful you. Reading number 1, people, trust. If something appears to be disruptive, just sit back and think, right, okay, I'm just going to sit back. This is not happening today. I'm going to sit back and just see what's shown to me, see what is, delivered to my door, see what random conversation arrives and takes place. Keep a synchronicity journal as well. Make a note of things that seem odd or unusual. Even if you're not making sense of them right now, you're listening to everything, knowing that it will at a certain point just become clear to you. And that is the Mercury retrograde energy and the message for you, reading number 1. Wonderful, wonderful reading number 1. If this has resonated with you, if this is interesting to you and you'd like to get notification of any of my readings, do please subscribe and press the little bell icon. That way you should get notification as soon as I post anything. And I do post every single Sunday with weekly guidance from Spirit, so just to have that little edge of support every week along the way, do check in on those. And if you'd like to be in my monthly prize draw, I give away a free private reading every month and also a pack of oracle cards too. If you'd like to be in that, it's a subscriber offer. Oh well, I have to say this, right in front of me, my bird table, I have right in front of me now sitting, and this is just so interesting. I always share these things when they come into my view. I have a rook. Now this is really unusual, sitting together on the bird table, both eating together. I have a rook and a crow, and they are sitting side by side. Now usually the rooks come in together, the crows come individually. Sometimes, usually the rooks come in a big horde. They're quite adolescent, the rooks actually, but actually these two are sitting on the bird table face to face, and they're kind of eyeing each other up, but they're also they're partaking together. So they're quite different. They're of the same species and yet they're different. They have very different energy. I'm just voicing this because the energy of crow is very much about flying between the worlds, and the energy of the rook, they're very adolescent, they're very energetic, they've got a lot of Mars energy about them. So again, this feels for me very much a reinforcement of Mars in Pisces, spiritual guidance, seeing between the worlds, being shown what we need to see, and then being able to have that fiery adolescent energy to then take action and bring it forth. Just feels like such a confirmation when that happens. So yes, reading number 1. But yes, I'm going back. If you would like to be in my prize draw, I have a subscriber email list. So if you want to add yourself to that, once you're on that email list, you are on it forever. And then I introduce or announce the winners of the reading and the oracle cards once a month on a Sunday after one of the Sunday readings. Wonderful friends, thank you so much for joining me for these readings. Tons and tons of love to you. Have an amazing time reading 1. This is a very powerful Mercury retrograde energy of profound possibility, reinforced by nature. The crow and the rook giving us that reinforcement, validating exactly what we're being shown in this reading. Tons and tons of love to you. Welcome, reading 2. You have been drawn to this reading through the Eye of Horus and the Whale energy and the Rune of Strength. I'm going to draw from the astrology dice. I'm going to throw them. Okay, so you have Venus and you have Venus in Scorpio. Wow. So this is, gosh, I want to say the resonance and depths of, I will say, love, of balance, of harmony, just at this point in time. This is a profound combination, reading number 2, because the medicine energy of Whale is about, it means that you, reading number 2, are someone who has the ability to develop your psychic intuition, to tap into the sound frequencies. It's like the song lines of the earth, to hear differently. Now, we are in the resonance, the energy of listening woman, the moon phase of listening woman. I feel like you are going to hear something. It could come through a sort of a psychic experience, clairaudience. You're going to see, it's something you see with your third eye, but it will have a profound impression upon you. And I think it will be something that will potentially either give you a voice or allow you to support someone else in finding a voice. But we are talking about something that resonates with real depth here, okay? Absolute depth of meaning and understanding that I think reading number 2 you are going to be shown. I'm having a really strong connection with the memory stone as well. The memory stone, green calcite, connects us to our ancestors, to the wisdom that is held in, it's like in the Akashic records, in the records of the earth, the memories of the ancestors. There's something incredibly powerful about this Mercury retrograde energy that spirit, your guides, your team, your spirit team wish you to tune into today. They're letting you know that you're going to be receiving information. It feels very life-changing, if I'm truly honest, reading number 2. Life-changing information. Gosh, these are really powerful readings. This is the card for you. Oh, goodness me, this is really powerful, the venom. Now, this is fascinating because, you know, when we think about snake venom, it takes me now into snake medicine. You know, snake medicine people, there were you know, shamanic peoples who lived amongst the snakes, and they were, like, by being bitten by snakes and surviving that, they developed resilience, and almost like it's a bit like, you know, why people are vaccinated. It's like, you know, you give somebody a little piece of something, a little bit of something. It's the same principle. You have a bit of something in your system, your body learns to defend against it. And it means that you develop a resilience to something that is poisonous. It's literally, and snake people were able to transform something that was poisonous into something that was okay. So there's a transformation of something. You may be bringing this to someone. It's like again, we have the resonance of sound. I need to draw more cards here, but this feels very powerful indeed, reading number 2. So reading number 2, let us draw love and light, act with care. Okay. I think that's very powerful sitting under here. So there is a certain situation that has a greater depth to it that is going to show up, I think, in your world during the Mercury retrograde period. Let us look at these oracle cards and some tarot as well. We have Bone Collector. This is interesting. This came up in reading 1. Connects us to our ancestors. Movement. Come together. Oh, this is lovely. This is very lovely. I feel, reading number 2, that something that has been challenging or poisonous or difficult for you, and actually I would say connects potentially to the sort of genetics in your family. You know, there may be a family system or a family something that has influenced the past, that you have an opportunity to transform this, to bring something back together, to release the poison. I do feel you are the transforming agent here. This is such a powerful card, Whale Medicine. It really does suggest that you are opening to some form of new psychic ability, heightened intuition, awareness of what's really going on in a situation. You become you are the person here who has the higher vision. It's like you're the one that has the higher vision. You're the one that carries the awareness of how to move this forwards. And I do feel you are very supported from your ancestors to shift something forwards and move it forwards and transform something so it kind of comes back together. Let's draw from a tarot. I'm going to draw, I think, in this reading from more than one tarot pack, but we'll... this feels like too many cards. I'm going to... You're first, yeah. You are the bringer of hope. Son of Swords. Five of Cups. Eight of Cups. You are the bringer of hope in this situation. I'm going to draw from another tarot as well. I have lots of cards sitting here. I love to work in that organic way when we just feel our way through. In fact, those cards are not entirely straight. I'll draw these cards first and then I will straighten them out a little bit. Okay, we have King of Cups. Nine of Swords. We have 4, 10. That's lovely. Now, just going to straighten your cards out a little bit. Okay, so we've laid out your cards here, reading number 2. So, you are the key agent here. You are the one with the higher vision, the inner knowing that is given the power, I think that's what I want to say, to transform something. I think it's something maybe for some of you that is connected to your families. It may be a family event or a family circumstance, or it may be something that's happening in your world that reminds you of a family pattern that has been previously followed. There's something almost for some of you like a genetic replay. You know, we know that trauma is reenacted in, you know, in generations. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. You know, I worked as a counsellor, a psychotherapist for over 28 years, and now my work is more spiritually orientated. But you know, in my counselling work, you know, we could really see how the traumas of past generations come through. And there was an amazing study that showed, I always felt sorry for the mice, but they had mice that they basically traumatized mice, and when they traumatized them, they exposed them to the scent of cherry blossom. And because obviously mice breed very quickly, they then, you know, bred these mice with other mice who didn't have any challenges or any difficulties in their lives, and they were all nurtured and loved and looked after. But you know, several generations down, the baby mice reacted to the scent of cherry blossom as if they were being traumatized. It's like the memory of that trauma, very strongly pulled again to the memory stone, the memory of that trauma was reenacted within them. And we know from generations, subsequent generations, through Holocaust survivors, that trauma resurfaces in generations, and we can have very strong reactions to things, but we don't necessarily know why we're having a reaction. And if we react in a particular way and we don't understand why, it's actually quite frightening. It's traumatizing again, because we feel like we ourselves are out of our own control. So there's something here about a situation that I think is going to show up, or it may for some of you already be around. I think some of you are already aware of what this is about. For others, it's coming into your awareness. Something will happen within, this is the guidance from Spirit in the Mercury retrograde period, when often things show up that cause us to reflect, to look backwards, to review, to evaluate disruptions, but with purpose. There is an opportunity for you to transform something and to do it differently. So whether this is something within your own patterns of behavior, whether it's triggered by somebody else and you're responding on autopilot, whether it is something being acted out within a family environment or within your friends. I mean, it could be your work family or your friendship family, but something's being reenacted. And you are the one that has the ability to move this forwards, to view it differently, and to bring things back together in a way that is about harmony through a depth of understanding. Venus, harmonious energy. in Scorpio, that depth of understanding. It's like that saying, when in deep water, become a diver. So diving deep, acting with care, bringing love and light into the situation. Something that is not so good, you have the ability to be the transformer, the transformative agent, to bring newfound hope to this situation. And with clarity of mind, clarity of direction, you know, something reaches a closure. I think, you know, for me, the Five of Cups, something is exposed. We see something, but something that maybe was difficult. It's like if you had an abscess or something on you, it needs to burst in order to be healed. And I always feel there's this turning point with the fives anyway, but a turning point with the Five of Cups when something emotional is brought to the surface. We see it for what it is, and therefore we can begin to heal. The Eight of Cups, I'm seeing again, something is being left behind. So we leave this poisonous attitude, this perspective, this autopilot way of responding. Something gets left behind, something gets put down. And this is lovely what we then have at the base of the reading here. You know, under the Star of Hope, we have the King of Cups. You know, again, look at the depths of this. Is just fascinating. Look at the depths of this. And, you know, here we have Neptune. We have this depth of understanding. There's kind of like shark-infested waters here as well. But again, I feel like in this reading, the story we're being shown here, he carries this cup of water. He can drink of the water. He can take the shark-infested waters, and he can be transformative. You know, the King of Cups is, you know, able to understand emotions, to transform emotions. He's sometimes depicted in some packs as a counselor. You know, the Nine of Swords, I can see that this is troubling. You know, so what I would say during this Mercury retrograde period, it's like something that maybe has been simmering for a while may come to a head. Something that is a family pattern, or like I said, an autopilot response may come to your attention, come into your zone. You have the ability to tune into its resonance and transform this from toxicity into something positive. I think that you may find it troubling when it comes. It may weigh a little bit heavily on your mind. But the purpose of that is, again, I would sort of say, you know, sleep on it. You know, allow yourself to enter the dream time and let the darkness, you know, owls, look at these two cards sitting together, you know. Even though when we are troubled and we're worried about something, if we sleep and allow the dream time to bring us the answers. Son of Swords, you know, this is the owl who sees in the darkness. You know, owls have night vision. They can bring clarity in the night. I sort of feel within meditation, and again, it's the whale song, listening to the resonance of things, you will clearly see, the Eye of Horus, what you need to do in order to bring this situation back into harmony, back into balance. Something will be let go of, left behind, released, laid to rest, put in the past. Ten of Cups, it's wonderful, the energy here. So you are the transforming agent here. You are able to contemplate, to meditate, and the answer will become clear. You will let something go as well. I think you release something. If this is very personal to you and you have found yourself tangled in any form of repetitive thinking, I think for you then in a personal way, and this is coming through strongly as a message for some of you, if you have been ever tangled in that repetitive thoughts that, you know, when stuff shows up in your life and you go over and over and over it and you think, oh, you know, my mind is like a broken record, and I can voice this because I have this, you know, and I understand it. It's stuff that maybe I was not able to fix or resolve at the time. situations when I didn't have a voice. It's like if it shows up again this time, you actually get to put it down. 10 of Cups, you know, joy is coming. Something is reaching a resolution. Something that felt poisonous before is now transformed and laid to rest. So whether this is really personal for you, or it's an, you know, within your own thinking patterns, reading number 2, or if it is a circumstance you find yourself in, your guides and spirit team are telling you, you know, you are the transformative agent here. You choose to almost tolerate the poison and the toxicity and transform it. You don't hold on to it. You transform it, you let it go by changing things and altering the patterns of behavior of the past, family patterns of behavior that are still present. Anything like that can now be transformed, moved forwards, brought back into balance. Reading number 2, this is what takes place, the energy during the Mercury retrograde. I'm not saying it is the easiest journey in the world, but what I am also saying is this is like a final, the turning point is a final one. It's like, you know, it's that diving deep and coming out the other side, and you just know you're never going to do it again. And what is amazing in this reading is that you are the transformative agent, not just for you, but for others. It's like 10 of Cups. This is the ultimate card of the joy, you know. So you move from the 8 where something is laid to rest, you leap to the space of contentment. You know, if there is any challenge going on within a relationship for you, within a personal relationship, it's going to reach a fabulous conclusion. You're going to be completely fine with it. You know, I feel like I just for this reading particularly want to draw just a few more runes for you. Right, we have the rune of defense, we have the rune of Hagalaz, the rune of disruption, and we have the rune of harvest. This just speaks so clearly to me. Now, the rune of defense, it speaks of a control of the emotions. And when it's not that you need to be in charge of your emotions in a controlling way, it's learning to navigate with your emotions as a source of empowerment, knowing that your emotions are we're not reactive, we are responsive, and keeping your boundaries as well, so that again you are the vessel of transformation here. Hagalaz is very interesting because Hagalaz is a bit like Uranus, the Great Awakener. Hagalaz is a rune that says a situation or a circumstance comes to a head. The disruption is with purpose. So this is very Mercury retrograde energy. Sometimes it's like slowly but surely, something maybe we were tolerating or putting up with, it comes to a head and we just decide, like that abscess, we're not going to tolerate it anymore. It breaks open and we can heal. So something comes to a head. It could be a gradual awakening and we think, well, I'm not doing that anymore, or I'm not putting up with that anymore, or I'm not behaving that way and I'm not tolerating that behavior anymore. But it is transformational. And sometimes it means something happens very suddenly, very quickly, that opens something up. But the energy is very much aligning with these two cards, where it's very much the 5 of Cups, the 8 of Cups. It's the transformation, it's the release of something, and therefore the healing. The rune of harvest is magical because it's a fruit-bearing rune. It's a rune of promise, of harvest, of new ways of doing things, leading to the harvest that we want. It's so in alignment with the 10 of Cups, particularly harmony with other people, harmony in relationships, coming together. So this is also, I would say, reading number 2, very much about other people. It's connections and relationships with others. So whether it's personal relationships, friendships, colleague, your family of colleagues at work, your family of family, your birth and blood family, whether it's family friendship groups, family community groups, it's connections with other people. That is what this reading is about. Could be one-to-one with a relationship as well, you know, an intimate relationship or a friendship, but this is about people. and it's about transforming something that was negative and felt poisonous into something that is an absolute space of celebration, coming together, clarity of understanding, unity, knowing that you don't have to repeat those patterns ever again. Wow. Reading number 2, this is something else. Some of you may already have an inkling at the very beginning of this Mercury retrograde period of what this is about. For others, you may come to this reading, you know, and that's the moment of something becoming apparent. Or if you're watching it, it may be that during the retrograde period, this shows up and you'll go, oh yes, I know what that was about. So reading number 2, if you have enjoyed this reading, if it's speaking to you, you know, do please like, share, and if you would like to get notification of any of my readings, do please subscribe, press the little bell icon, and that way you should get notification as soon as I post anything. And I do post readings every single Sunday for weekly guidance from Spirit, so do check those out. And I also have a monthly prize draw where I give away a free private reading and a pack of oracle cards. That's a subscriber offer, and so if you want to be in that prize draw, if you add yourself to my subscriber email list, then once you're on that list, you're on it forever. And once a month, I announce those winners at the same time as one of the Sunday readings. So wonderful, wonderful reading number 2. This Mercury retrograde period is, in its own way, it's not without a kind of a challenge for you, actually, a disruption of some sort, but my goodness me, harmony is coming. It's amazing. Reading number 2, tons and tons and tons of love. Welcome to reading 3, beautiful people. This is the rune of fertility. You've been drawn to this reading by best friends and mouse, the energy of mouse. Now this is really interesting just as a combination on its own, because mouse energy calls us to scrutinize, to look, to see something in detail. You know, we kind of need to not nitpick over the detail, but we do need to scrutinize. We need to see something clearly, and that tunes in with the energy of listening woman. These readings have been extraordinary in terms of the energy of listening woman and of the moon phase we're in, and of course the Mercury retrograde energy where we are being shown things so often. So very, very interesting messages coming through from Spirit. The rune of completion, rather the rune of fertility. Fertility requires completion, but completion of beginnings. So something is generally needing to be wrapped up in order to progress and to fertilize the ground for your own deliverance. And then we have best friends. So I'm going to move this over here. We're going to throw the astrology dice and we're going to draw from lots and lots of different cards and maybe more runes. We'll see. Okay, so we have the energy of Pluto. So this is rebirth and transformation in Taurus. Taurus, earthy, beautiful, earthy, steady, grounding Taurus. So something, again, if you're to fertilize something, to bring something forth, there's something about fertility and having something actually manifest, take place, actually happen, to rebirth, to transform. Let's have a look at your archetype card. Well, this is really interesting. Aletheia came up in the very first reading, in reading number 1 as well. Very interesting, because we have mouse energy here, and mouse energy needs to see the detail. Aletheia speaks to us of seeing the truth in some matter, shape or form. Okay, clear and activate. Okay, I feel like I'm beginning to have a feel of messages coming through, connecting to somebody who is a friend. Some friendship, some connection, but I'm going to I'll draw some more cards first. Details, details, see the details, pay attention to the details. Home. Oh, and we're speaking as well. Slow and steady. Okay, and one more. Actually, this is slow and steady and movement. Okay. If any of you during this Mercury retrograde period are negotiating any form of contract, whatever that may be real estate or any form of contract, and if we think about contracts also as like friendships, relationships, if we think that a relationship is a contract, we don't tend to sit down and work out the fine details of our friendships. They evolve and they emerge. But yeah, any aspect of contract, be very slow and steady. It will progress, but pay attention to the details. I think there is a very powerful message here for some of you regarding a relationship of some sort, someone who you consider to be a friend. And I think that there may be a need for you to see something of this friendship, to see it with clarity and to redefine it. When I worked, for those of you that are new to me or to the Moon Magic Tarot channel, I worked as a counsellor, a therapist for over 28 years, and my work now is really more spiritually orientated. But I worked for many years with couples. I love working with couples, but because you get to really see both. If somebody is struggling in a relationship, you can really work with the actual relationship because both people are there. And what is really interesting, I used to talk to people about a contract. And I would say, if you think about your relationship as a contract, when you meet, you fall in love, and both of you have a picture of how you think this is going to pan out. But you may not have actually discussed that picture very clearly. We often enter relationships and friendships with hopes and dreams as to how they might emerge. And it doesn't mean that they can't, but very often the challenges along the way come because we had a different perspective as to how something would evolve, and we hadn't sort of like discussed the terms and conditions of the contract, how we were going to get there or what it would mean to us. And I often used to get couples to sit down and think about the contract they thought they were creating, but maybe hadn't discussed with each other, and then to begin to redefine and recontract. So I feel like for you guys, your spirit guides, your spirit team are asking you to see something with clarity. You need to pay attention to the details, the energy of listening woman and the energy of Alethea here. See the truth of the matter. I'm going to draw from the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards before I then draw from a tarot pack. Okay, there are two cards showing themselves to me here. Persevere and miracles. Oh, this is so interesting. Persevere and miracles. Who would have thought that a humble acorn could grow into a mighty oak tree? But of course this takes time. Whatever you are involved in, this card brings a message of reassurance. Your hard work and continued effort and dedication will come to fruition. You are asked to persevere and trust. And then we tend to perceive miracles. This is just fascinating, sitting under the home card. We tend to perceive miracles only when our personal desires are met. And yet when we look back, almost all of us will be able to recall a crisis or a challenge that ultimately proved to be a miraculous turning point and an extraordinary gift. This is so Mercury retrograde energy. This card asks you to see the miracles that surround you right now and in every situation. What I feel like reading number 3 is that whatever this connection, best friends. You're needing to see something with clarity. Now it is going to emerge. You are being asked to move it forwards. But I think you're being asked to move it forwards sort of in a way that's like, I want to say real. You know, like back to going back to the idea, you know, when we meet someone and we fall in love. And the truth of a really wonderful relationship is when you love that person, kind of warts and all. You just adore them. Your best friend is your best friend because you know that he or she, you know all of their faults, all of their difficulties, but you just love them anyway. You know, your partner, you know who they really, really are. You know, it's like, I think I remember somebody hearing a saying, somebody was saying something like, your best friends are people who show up even when they really know you. It's that sort of sense of like, so this is worthy of perseverance. The rune of fertility is a rune of promise. It's a rune of, it's a rune of promise. So this is whatever the situation you're in, what you're being asked here to do is to build on it. I think it's going to come to fruition. It's going to come to fruition. It's slow and steady wins the race. And even if there are things you have to navigate and get through, and they feel difficult, actually, or if there are interruptions, a contract doesn't run smoothly, or you suddenly feel like this isn't the person you knew, or actually there's a miracle awaiting here. This is going to come right, I think, but it's going to come right. Slow and steady wins the race. It's going to come right because it requires attending to the detail. It requires working at, you know, in a steady, solid way. You know, I'm really loving this home card here as well. I'm gonna, before we dive into that, I'm actually going to draw from one of the tarot packs, in fact possibly two of the tarot packs, but we'll just see where we go with this. 3 of discs, Eight of Swords, and the card of Strength. Okay. We have the Moon. Do you know that one too? Not quite sure how we're going to fit these in, but we will fit them in. Okay. Look at that. 3 of discs and 3 of wands. The card of Judgment, and oh, the 10 of Cups. This is so lovely. This is just so lovely. Okay, this is a situation that you're at a turning point, and it's that point of what I would say celebration or emergence. You know, when it's like you've begun a relationship, you've fallen in love with a person, and you're at that stage where you want to make a commitment and move something forwards, and then suddenly something happens and you think, oh, is that person really the person I thought they were? You know, actually this is really important, because what you're seeing is the truth of the matter here. Clear and activate, create sacred space. If you have a wobble, then just sit and be for a little while. Don't rush with this, okay? There's no need to rush. The message from your spirit guides and your spirit team for this Mercury retrograde time is to say, look, stay on track. You know, you are at a space of, it's going to be like a turning point, but it's like a turning point in building. So if you were building a foundation to a new house, or you were writing a book and you've written the introduction, it's like you might now be having a wobble about, do I have the energy, the time, the resources to build this amazing house? Do I have the energy, the resources? Do I really know how I want the story to unfold, to finish this book? Do I want this relationship to move forwards? Is it worth it? Is this person worthy of investing in? Is this person, you know, I'm seeing things about this person I'm not sure about. Can we overcome these? Can we recontract? Is the contract, are the details right? Do we need to pause and actually define what we want or where we're going, or make sure we cross the T's and dot the I's? And this reading is saying yes. This is what you're being shown. Any interruptions, any delays, they are being shown to you because it means that you are going to then be building on a very strong foundation. There's an evaluation. I can see there is some fear here. It's almost like whatever that I want to say, the Mercury retrograde hiccup or interruption or diversions or wobble that comes during this period. And, you know, that is the Mercury retrograde energy, but we're invited to slow down, not to try to rush from A to B to make this just happen. That's the energy of Mercury retrograde. You are being invited, I'm also hearing, to be your own best friend as well. Yeah, it's really coming through here. Be your own best friend. Don't give yourself a hard time just because it's not happening really quickly. Don't pick yourself to pieces. Attend to the details, but don't get into that self-critical mode. That's not good for you, okay? Your situation is unfolding. It is a situation of promise, of fertility, and it will birth into realness. This is going to come to fruition. But there are things that need to be attended to. Your worry, because I think there's a worry that something isn't right, or it's not going to move forwards, or something shows up, or there's a delay, and then you think, oh, is this a sign to tell me I shouldn't be moving forwards with this? You know, put the worry aside. Actually, this isn't, you're not being given signs to worry about something. You're being given signs to allow you to know what you're actually building, and to attend to the details, and to build it more solidly, more thoroughly, more advantageously. And it's going to emerge, it's going to birth into being, it's going to come to fruition, it's going to be strong, it's going to be solid, it's going to be joyous, it's going to have a sense of permanence. It's built on a solid foundation because it's real. But slow and steady wins the race. It's going to move and evolve forwards. You're on track. You know, the home card. Home is that place of safety, of security, of stability. You're building something really strong here. Clear your space. Retreat if you need to. But this is also saying persevere. Now, these two cards really align, and it's really interesting, even though the imagery, you know, is slightly different. You know, I mean, look at the colours of the greenness and the earthiness in this reading. You know, beyond keeping your space clear, the colours in your reading are earthy, nature, growing, you know, fertility, trees, abundance. This is a really earthy, grounded reading, offering abundance, but also saying, you know, you need to get grounded and get real about this. Don't be airy-fairy. Keep a clear space. Don't let your mind interfere by bringing fear into the matter, or being concerned that something's not on track because it doesn't run smoothly. You know, interpretation is very important when we interpret things. We can, if there is a delay, we can perceive it as a sign that we're not on track. Actually, sometimes the delay is genuinely really, really purposeful. The purpose is actually to illuminate. We have the moon here. The purpose of the delay is to illuminate something that we need to see, so that as we build and make steady progress, we are building something of solidness, of significance, of purpose, so attend to the detail. Don't pick yourself to pieces, don't nitpick. You just need to see the truth of the matter. And your guides and spirit team are telling you during the Mercury retrograde period, actually, there will be it will feel as though things aren't moving forwards fast, but the purpose of that is to take it slow and steady, step by step, not to worry, because everything is pointing to fruition, joyous endings. Every delay is a miracle in disguise. Every delay, reading number 3, is sent here with purpose to strengthen your position, to give you a greater solidness to the manifestation of whatever it is that you are birthing into the world. The fertility will come, the promise will come, but this is something that you're going to make real. So trust that the Mercury retrograde energy is not there to knock you off balance. It's there to keep you on track and to help you to define with greater strength and clarity the details of your pathway forwards. It means that you will be standing on a solid foundation, whether you are building a relationship or a working alliance or a friendship, whatever you are building and birthing. You know, this project, this person, this partner, this business associate, this family member, they can become a best friend to you because you are on that solid ground. You know the truth of the matter. You know, it's just, this is really like this feels like the Mercury retrograde energy, reading number 3 at its best. You know exactly the purpose of it, the universal law of purpose, everything coming in with purpose and meaning to support us, even though sometimes it feels like we're, you know, this is classic of we're getting what we need and not necessarily what we want. If we wanted to fast forward ahead and get everything right now, nope, it's not. That's not going to work, because then if everything fast forwarded, it wouldn't have the real depth or substance or solidness that we really need. To have something of real truth and meaning, and that's coming to you. So reading number 3, this is absolutely delightful energy and delightful messages from your spirit guides for the Mercury retrograde period. Wonderful reading number 3, people. If you have enjoyed this reading and it's speaking to you, resonating with you, helping you, I post readings for weekly guidance from Spirit every single Sunday. Do check those out. If you'd like to get notification of any of my readings, if you subscribe and press the little bell icon, they should come into your stream. And if you would like to be in my monthly prize draw, I give away a free private reading and a pack of oracle cards, these oracle cards here, every month. I announce the winners every month after one of the Sunday readings. And also I have a subscriber, it's a subscriber offer. I have a subscriber email list. If you want to add yourself to it, I will put all the links in the information box and in the comments for phone users. Once you're on that list, you are on it forever. And so, you know, just keep a check out for those announcements. Reading number 3, I actually really truly wish you an amazing Mercury retrograde period, full of I'm going to say full of what I would call those slow and steady interruptions that slow you down and give you every piece of information you need to build the most incredibly solid foundation for the next chapter of your life, with huge promises of fertility. And I mean, wow, 10 of Cups energy, just wow. Beautiful, abundance, love, joy, happiness, contentment. You know, this is the stuff of miracles, though they may not come in the shape or form that you expect. Reading number 3, tons and tons and tons of love to you.